For the record, Alan Osborne, if you've got 32 names, one, I'm going to think it's inappropriate that the name should be proposed by your own HR section because they're proposing who's going to be their boss. The world doesn't work like that. The military or other government organizations, the employees don't get to recommend who comes to the boss. HR has done their job and advertised it, and you have a candidate list. As Mr. Anderson said, no matter what you do, you're going to look conflicted the way you're doing it. You look conflicted to us out here. So now that you got 32 people, why don't you decide what your criteria is that you think's most important right now, decide what your number is, whether it's 5 or 8, and go take those packets to an independent board who's not going to be their boss, because y'all are going to pick your employee's boss. That's what you're doing here. Make no mistake about it. This is the standard enforcer for the county because y'all are our commissioners by state law as part-time. So this is the only person you got. The process looks flawed. I don't know if you have a specialist on extremism, social media, or anything else, but when you start throwing out unquantifiable things like that you're discriminating on, it better be from a group of people who aren't going to be influenced by it. So you have a board, this is a cut list, and in the end there's only one quarterback. So if the number is 5 or 8, take it out, outsource it right now based on the standards you want and the number you want, and ask for a list of 5 or 8 or whatever it is, not ranked in any order. Those are just the top out of the 32, and then you 5 go vote. And then there's 5 of you. Somebody will get the most votes. But right now, the public, we all think that there's a ringer out there, and the only way you're going to get past that and get past my TV shows and other people's opinions is to go keep it above board. Outsource it to somebody who has no dog in the fight and let them bring you, the elected people, a list to choose from, and then you choose. But right now, this process looks jacked up, in my opinion.
We will not have any clapping. And just for the record, this is
For the record, Alan Osborne. A couple things I want to.
Could you spell your last name?
Osborne. It's on my TV show if you need to watch it. A couple things I want to talk about is one, what Bonnie did a good job and Kevin did an awesome job. If we weren't eligible, the bottom line, if we weren't eligible November 2021, you got bad advice, and we, the taxpayers, paid for it. We paid for bad advice, and our Taxpayers Association expended their money fighting a tax that never should have been on there. So we all wasted our own money who donate to that. So I think there's some apologies owed. I think one of the biggest problems in this county is you can never admit when you've done the wrong thing, and you think that we're all just believe that, and we don't. That's my opinion. The second 2 things I'm going to go over is your $40 million. One of the line items was the connector road to Sandestin. You've had a 15% or greater traffic change. You're in substantial deviation. You shouldn't be paying for anything without finding out what the developer's done with the traffic plan, and you've known it by letters from the state since 2007. Secondly, Driftwood Estates. That's a repair to a MSBU, meaning those people already paid for those driveways. We all paid about $3 million. Nobody in Paxton does that. Nobody else has ever been leveled to MSBU, so that's a bunch of garbage. We all paid $3 million to find out that a non-compliant system was put in. But what's worse here is that you're going on with phase 2 after Dr. Harper told you it was 0% compliant. The state sent you a letter saying that if you wanted to use that standard, you had to do an NOPC. You have not done that. So you've got a substantial deviation on traffic. You're deviating by your own direction for your drainage standards, and you've been told that you're 0% compliant in the county right-of-way, and that improvement that you're going to spend millions on with that grant is to direct pipe into the water, which the law prohibits. Your own ordinance prohibits. State Law 380 says any DRI and substantial deviation that local governments will not issue permits. Why are you issuing permits for condos, and why are you issuing permits to yourself in the county right-of-way to violate the law? You got the ability to change the law, but not if you don't admit you're breaking it and hold the hearings to change it. And therein lies the crux of what you're doing. So what you're doing here is installing phase 2, the Florida Board of Professional Engineers, and you guys all have these documents because I've emailed them to you, the county attorneys, the county administrators, and these complaints have been through code. The Florida Board of Professional Engineers said the county engineers were using the wrong standard to apply to this, and you've done nothing. So redo your budget, tell us what capital reserves are there, and quit breaking the law with our money. Your first problem is, and it was evident at y'all's BCC meeting, is y'all think too much about who the people are instead of what the process is. There's always somebody's name on it, and y'all want to make it personal. In the eyes of justice, they're supposed to wear a blindfold. But it was clear at the BCC meeting yesterday for, 90 minutes while we hashed whether we were going to follow a policy. If we're not going to follow a policy, we might as well forget it and walk out the door. There's no reason to have one. The second thing is, the second reason is y'all are responsible for most of our problems because you've passed it on to us because you have selective enforcement. We have to report the problem. You're not going to fix it on your own. And so after the developer gets signed off and there's massive problems, it's up to us to report them because, as you said, your code is reactive. So all of us have to take time out of our day and go figure out how to tell you and make you listen that the developer didn't do what they were supposed to do. And you know what y'all gonna do? Nothing. I can show you that hundreds of times. I'll give you an example. The traffic on Mac Bayou today. One school bus drove down Mac Bayou. Before it got to the last Adams home, the subdivision before the curve, it had back traffic all the way up to the bank. And nobody went on the side road over there to the Mac Bayou Relief. And you know why that is? Because somebody on the staff lied. And I'm going to explain exactly why. And the county and the taxpayers, y'all keep kicking the can down the road. You're to the point in your development of diminishing returns. And those of us that have been here for 30, 35 years, remember when the county was all crying because the property market collapsed and the value went to crap? And they went, oh crap, we ain't got no money. Well, if you keep building and people sit in that traffic, they're not going to come to the Emerald Coast. They were all making notes. Road rage became, even for locals, the Facebook page of we can't go anywhere. And you're right, y'all don't live in it, so you don't live with it. The traffic on Mac Bayou, when Sandestin changed its map H after 12 years of fighting, you had Mac Bayou Point and you had both parts of Driftwood. That's over 800 homes. The substantial deviation for traffic, the number was 15% in the development order, yet planning never reported the substantial deviation. The reality of that was Mac Bayou Point, which is where the school used to be for Sandestin, the county sold it off and it was taken off the plan. And Driftwood's still in the plan, but it's disconnected. But Sandestin's getting credit for 800, 900 homes going out the front gate of Sandestin. No, they're not. They're going right down Mac Bayou. Unless you're a hurdler and can clear 9 feet of cement wall, you haven't driven out of Driftwood. Okay? Secondly, the emergency exit floods. Okay? It floods. Are y'all tired of seeing my TV show? They are not going to stop. They're going to get worse. Charlie, you and Chance, I don't thank you at all. Because in my neighborhood, I have a pipe and a development order. It's called 89-09. And Mr. Glidewell, you said when you went in office, you're going to get me an answer. You're going to show me that the staff had this paperwork that said I was wrong. No commissioner can show me. Because y'all would shut me up if you could. I would. If I was in here, I would pull out that document and go, look, Alan, you're wrong. Your development order says that you shall not pipe directly water into the bay, yet Charlie, you and Chance, you're okay with that in my neighborhood. My home was built to 6.7-inch retention standard, and I proved it in the development. You now have 2 homes going in that are flooding the crap out of me, and I'm having to sue them. And then I'll have to deposition you guys and ask why you didn't enforce it. It's right there in 89-09 ordinance. It doesn't matter what the county plan is. So if you're not going to enforce the traffic, then you lost all your proportional fair share money. And proportional fair share is a variance. That means the traffic is overloaded on the road, correct, Chance? That you have to pay for it because all the traffic count that you had, you've used it up. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so if that's correct, what you did was approve the PUD and a couple more developments there that still aren't built yet. That traffic's all the way to the bank. And I've been on that road since 1996. Don't lie to me about it. It was never like that. The bike path has become unsafe, the City Meadow, the multi-use path. People drive down it. My neighborhood, people drive in the streets at night, and it floods just as bad as it ever did, if not worse. Now, when I moved out there, I was the 7th home. My house didn't flood. My yard didn't flood. But when you feel like these other people, other areas are where the water went, and wait till that PUD. That sucker has been filled to the gills, and that's where water sat for 30 years. Right there at the end of Buck and Mac Bayou. As Johnny Redmond said, who's lived there 50 years, these people must be idiots who designed this, because that's where the water sat. So our traffic problem was created by not telling the truth. The taxpayers will pay because they should have had to pay the developers. Somebody said they don't have to pay. Here's a good example. No proportional fair share was collected. And my question is this. Your expert, Dr. Harper, the state in 4 letters, and the Florida Board of Professional Engineers said that the county engineers were using the wrong standard. And you know what I got out of that? Silence. I ain't getting nothing from you, Charlie, or you, Chance. That's my house. And it didn't do that before. And it's doing it because of the inaction of people here. That's what it is. Because we have favoritism, and that was clear yesterday, that policy didn't matter. And it doesn't. The law doesn't matter because it's selective enforcement. It's reactive enforcement, and the onus is on us to stop the drainage, stop the traffic problems, and all this when it's really your job. That's what we're paying you to do for us, is represent us, but you've ruined the south end of the county because y'all don't live down here. You don't deal with it. It's not personal to you because you don't have 30 years invested down here. You don't. When I came out to the point on Mac Bayou, that's where I wanted to retire and fish the rest of my life. I would throw my cast net behind my house before it was my house, when I owned my first house out there, and I couldn't pick it out of the water. I'd have to shake part of the LYs and herons out of it so I could drag it up on the dock. Crabs, stone crabs. I got a 36-inch pipe, and all of you have seen it. You've seen it, haven't you, Chance? Have you seen it, Charlie? It's right down from my house. It's this big, and there's multiple of them running right into the bay, and your development order says it's prohibited, but you're not prohibiting it. Why? Because SDI has big money. They have more rights than us, and that's what's wrong. Selective enforcement. So if you're not going to tell the truth, and you're going to lie about stuff like that, it's disingenuous to come in here on an election year and say we care about what's happening to you, because nobody believes you. Not at all. Because I watch it. It's funny to you. Everything's funny to you. But it's funny when I make my shows too and I tell the truth. It's easy. Look, you need to put your blinders on and just read the law and enforce it. Because we have the same rights as a developer, and this is America. And y'all shouldn't do all this nepotism and choosing and favoritism and I know him and this lawyer's doing it and that. Well, that's your problem. Being in the government's hard. It is. I did it for 35 years. I had to fire people I worked next to, who I spent recreation time with because they broke the rules. You've got developers breaking the rules and you're doing nothing about it. And you're making people like me suffer, and that's why I come at you and tell you the truth about what you do. And I'm not ashamed of it. I just don't come anymore because it's not worth my time. I share my information with the public because you guys are too gutless to go out there and do something for us. All of you, the staff included. You have lied about Sandestin for 25 years. It is the biggest polluter of the bay. Grand Boulevard's water is going under there, and y'all aren't going to hold anybody accountable. You haven't said a word as a board. We don't have a rep on the Northwest Florida Management Water District. Is that not correct? We don't have one from Walton County. You promised me in 2012, they stood up here and said we were $100 million behind in drainage infrastructure south of the bay. $100 million. What have we done about it? Thrown the throttles full forward. There's no repercussions for a developer. So once they've torn it up and y'all don't have bonds and y'all never taken a developer to court, why do you think every unlicensed contractor and everybody without a license comes to Walton County? Because they know nothing will happen. Y'all are mall cops. You'll say stop or I'll yell stop again. When are you gonna have some standard? If you wanna hate me, fine, I hate some of you right back. I promise you I'd burn you in effigy in the parking lot. It wouldn't even bother me. Because I care about this country more than most of you, I assume. Because I don't want that bay ruined. I don't want my kids in poop. I don't think it's funny. The bay is dying. And that's why I came here, because other than that, without that bay and without this water, this is lower Alabama on steroids and nobody won't come here. Okay, this would be a big deer camp, all right? That's all we got. But you got a problem with your staff covering up. You have fired people over telling the truth, and it's gonna come to light. So I just came here to share this information tonight. Sandestin traffic is beyond 15% deviated, and I've got Danton's plans and Sandestin's own plans, and I've sent them all to you and to all your administration, your own paperwork. I've sent you your own reports. It says 6.7 inches is if you don't have an 8909 ordinance revoking that, if you don't have something from a court that says the 84 settlement agreement is no good, then I blame you. Because you have every ability, and the engineers, and I'm an engineer, it may be aeronautical, but I know water runs downhill, and I know, like they said, the lethal resistance, if you fill the swamp, it'll come up at somewhere else. That's what water does. So your problem is the truth. The problem is standards. The problem is selective enforcement. And when you keep putting my face on the problem, instead of staring at the problem, you are the problem. That's what it is. Because I'm not scared to lead. I'm not scared to have my house shot at, and I'm not scared to take on you jokers. Every single one of you. I've got paperwork, and if you could have answered it, you would have for 20 years. So this is why I'm coming to this meeting, because I know it's disingenuous. You don't care, you see us as a cash cow, and when the south end collapses in another market bust, this county will realize that it was diminishing returns on an investment model. More is not always better. Ask the people at the southern border. It's not better. Maintaining a high quality of life and the desire to not only vacation here, but to retire here and invest here is the real measure of whether you're doing the right thing, because y'all ain't pride preserved or conserved anything. And the nepotism way of hiring people in this county is killing you, because you just don't have the cojones to stand up and tell the truth and just enforce the rules like they lay. If you got a DUI and you blew over 10, you're going to jail. When I speed, I pay my fines. Why is it a man with $150 million to spend, that he's above the law? Aren't you tired of seeing that in America? You don't see it in DC. You don't see it in Tallahassee. Everybody's above, beyond reproach because their position. I say BS. The Constitution makes us equal and allows us to not have the government control us. And all we've asked for is for you to follow your own rules and your staff, and somehow that is lost upon you.
Hey, we keep it on.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying?
You're being fair.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been too long. But, you can see it now or see it in my TV shows. It doesn't bother me. I mean, what do y'all want to do?
We all watch TV show. It's entertaining. I actually watch it.
I know y'all watch it. I can tell who watches it. I know what y'all do. Trey, your own aide's gone through the county telling everybody I'm right about Sam Destin. So what are you doing about it, Trey?
That's not, well, you know, we're not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're
Then
wrong.
what are you going, okay, since you're not saying I'm wrong and this is on the record, what you gonna do about it?
Yeah, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna do what we can. We will listen to your concerns. I'm here to listen to your concerns.
What is
See
it
if
that
we
you can
can see
do?
if
Well,
we
you're
can
the chairman,
find- see
you
if
know what
we
you
can
can do,
find out.
right? You seemed kind of confused about that advertising process yesterday, so what can you do
We're
about
gonna
it?
make it right. We're gonna make it
How
right.
you gonna make it right?
So we're gonna make it right. That's what
Who's
we're
we?
working on.
Y'all gonna make it right back there too? You gonna enforce? He said y'all gonna make it
Well,
right.
hey, let's get some of these other folks up there.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Anyone else? Who else?